Have you ever wondered about the biblical origin of these European peoples? All European peoples have their own unique origin, and if you are curious about this, know that there is fascinating genealogical information to explore. Discover right now the origin of the white peoples, the European peoples, according to the sacred scriptures. Europe is home to many countries, including Germany, Austria, Poland, Hungary, France, Italy, Romania, among others. Did you know that the sacred scriptures mention the origins of European peoples? Biblical texts cite the names of the ancestral ancestors of certain European peoples in chapter 10 of Genesis. If you didn't know, the sacred scriptures are sources that interpret these texts by taking into account the symbolism presented, the origins, regions, and countries of characters and peoples that in the case of European peoples, we find several mentioned in the sacred scriptures, but mainly the Greek people and the Macedonian people, who are direct descendants of one of the sons of Japheth. This gives us an idea of who is considered the ancestor of the European peoples. Japheth, the son of Noah, is regarded as the ancestor of Europeans. The name Japheth means beautiful, enlargement, or simply multiplication. Biblically, European peoples are called Japh or Japhites. Additionally, linguistically, the European language family, including English, German, Russian, Ukrainian, and several others, is also known as the Japheth language family. In reference to the ancestor of the European peoples, the sacred scriptures addressed the ancestors of European peoples in chapter 10 of the book of Genesis and also in the book of Chronicles. In them, we find Japheth's lineage, his 7 sons and his grandsons. Through the names of Japheth's sons and grandsons, we can decipher the origins of ancient Europeans. In antiquity, the Israelites themselves called the European peoples Japhites, as well as Javanites, referring specifically to the region of Greece as Javanites, or simply sons of Javan. In the book of Genesis, we find the names of each of these children. From now on, I will be mentioning the names of each one of them to all of you. These were the descendants of Japheth: Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, and Tiras. And these were the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarmah. These were the sons of Javan, Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanim. The biblical identification of Ashkenaz as an ancestor of the Germanic peoples is a curious and interesting description still present among Jews to this day. Ashkenazi Jews refer to regions including Germany and other Germanic areas as Ashkenazic because of an ancestor of the Germanic peoples who, according to the ancient and biblical Jewish view, is Ashkenaz. He gave rise to the Germanic people, including the Germans themselves. In addition to Ashkenaz, there is also the biblical character named Riphath. According to ancient interpretations and the consensus of the Irish themselves, who are direct descendants of the Celtic peoples, Riphath is the biblical ancestor of the Celtic peoples. Riphath, son of Gomer and grandson of Japheth, is the ancestor of the Celtic peoples, also known as Celts. Celtic tribes scattered across Europe are direct descendants of Riphath, son of Gomer and grandson of Japheth. In addition to the descendants of Riphath, we find other sons of Japheth always related and seen as European peoples or regions of Europe or peoples genetically related to Europeans. For example, we have the mention of Madai in the biblical text, who is interpreted as one of the sons of Japheth and refers to the nations that settled in the region of Iran. The Aryan or Iranian peoples, biblically called Medes, are represented by the Medo-Persians. Note the similarity between the terms Medo and Madai due to the origin of these peoples. Madai was the progenitor of the Medai tribes, which include the Medo-Persians, the Parthians, and many other peoples of ancient Persian ancestry, all of whom traced their origins through Madai, son of Japheth. Another name that calls our attention in Genesis 10 verse 2 is Magog. We also have the names Tubal and Meshech. Tubal and Meshech are considered the ancestors of Russian, Ukrainian, and other Slavic peoples. Slavic peoples are descendants of these 3 biblical characters. It is a consensus among scholars of biblical genealogies and nations that Russia and Ukraine are the lands of Gomer and Magog, as Tubal and Meshech are their biblical ancestors. This is of paramount importance for us to understand the apocalyptic prophecies present in the book of Revelation in the Old Testament, in Daniel, Ezekiel, Isaiah, and other books of the sacred scriptures. It is important that you know about each of these peoples, their names, and their ancestors. For example, Magog, Tubal, and Meshech are the biblical ancestors of the Slavic peoples. Ashkenaz is the father of the Germanics, but it is crucial not to confuse the Germanic peoples with the Slavic peoples. We have already discovered the ancestry of some groups of European peoples who are genetically related, all of whom are white peoples in Europe. Another biblical character that draws attention in the sacred scriptures is Tiras, who is considered the ancestor of the Italian peoples due to his relationship with the Etruscans. The Etruscans are one of the peoples that make up the ancestry of the ancient Italians. The ancient Romans, descendants of the Etruscans and other Japhethite peoples, have an interesting curiosity about Javan, son of Japheth. Javan did not only give rise to Greek peoples but also other peoples related to Greeks who were not Greeks but had a connection with them. It is fascinating to note that the names of the sons of Japheth have striking linguistic similarities, even though there are differentiations due to Greek, Hebrew, and Aramaic. These names bear a remarkable similarity with linguistic variations that emerged due to the event at Babel, where different languages originated because of the wickedness of men. According to biblical tradition, there is a story that describes the existence of a common language among all human beings, known as the Adamic language. This narrative suggests that this language would have been spoken by the first human beings, the descendants of Adam and Eve. Today, the world is characterized by great linguistic diversity. There are thousands of different languages spoken across the planet, each with its own unique history in evolution. For example, modern Greek, the language spoken in Greece today, is a variant of ancient Greek. Ancient Greek has been spoken for thousands of years since classical antiquity. Over the centuries, Greek has undergone numerous transformations and changes in its structure and vocabulary, resulting in the modern form we know today. Among the children of Javan, we find Elisha, who is identified as the ancestor of the Greek peoples. Elisha, the grandson of Japheth and the son of Javan, gave rise to the original Greeks. The similarity between Elisha and the word Hellenes is evident, not only in English but also in Hebrew and, of course, in the Greek language. This connection underscores the deep historical and linguistic roots shared by these names. Another son of Javan who arouses curiosity is Tarshish, mentioned several times in the sacred scriptures. Tarshish is considered the ancestral father of the Tarsians, the first inhabitants of the Iberian Peninsula. The Portuguese and Spaniards are descendants of Tarshish. Although they have other Japhethite ancestries and a mixture with Semitic peoples, they are originally considered to be descendants of Tarshish. Tarshish is described as the son of Javan and the grandson of Japheth. The story of these descendants highlights the intricate web of connections and ancestries that trace back to the early biblical figures. It provides a fascinating glimpse into how different cultures and languages have evolved and spread across regions over millennia. This lineage not only underscores the diversity of European peoples but also their shared roots that stretch back to ancient times. Another son of Javan, called Kittim, is always associated with the island of Cyprus. Therefore, the Cypriots are descended from Kittim, one of the sons of Javan. The fourth son of Javan is called Dodanim, although some believe that there was a transcription error and that he is actually Rodanim or simply Dodanim. Due to linguistic differences, he is considered the ancestor of the Dardanians, an ancient Trojan people. I could spend hours bringing more stories and biblical identifications about the characters and their origins, but I'll leave it to the next video in the series, which will be about the origin of Asian peoples according to the Holy Scriptures. In short, European peoples are direct descendants of Japheth and are called Japhethites. If you found this story interesting and want to explore more sacred stories, make sure to subscribe to the Sacred Stories channel and turn on notifications. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so feel free to leave a comment below. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.